present the true situation of what agriculture is on this continent for the moment. It's not only about the youth. It's about the future of the continent. Is agriculture becoming a business? US, Europe, China, that is developed without agriculture. That's where you start. That's where you start. If you don't get that right, you'll never get it right.
I run two businesses. One is the university. I own a university. And the other one, I promote the smallholder farmers. I've trained more than 20,000 farmers. But, you know, the growth is very, very slow because my farmers use a hoe and an axe, whereby to cut a tree, they will take 1 week. Because we don't have, the modern technology to use in order for them to, to grow.
The African product, and I think Africa has now a very good image, and also if there are products even made by African women, it has also like organic product, but we also need from the market that Mother Nature is a natural. I mean, we cannot just squeeze the size of all the product in order to fit like a display in a supermarket somehow. We just need to have the product as they are. And I think branding the product, that's why communication is a key issue, and this is what private sector comes in to put this investment in the branding.
Use of quality inputs. As was mentioned earlier by my colleague from OCP, the use of fertilizer or even improved seeds is a fraction in Africa of what it is in other countries. The degraded soil that you see in many parts of Africa, particularly here in Ethiopia, where there are losses of 30 to 60 kilos of nutrients per hectare every year due to the type of mining that's occurring. There's also inadequate investment in research and development. Much of the research and development that is already happening in Africa is driven by the CG centers, which is of course very positive. But there's a lack of local capacity when it comes to translating that research and development into solutions on the ground for our farmers.
In massive dynamics, we are developing unmanned systems to achieve direct economic impact to the people in African rural areas. Those people are suffering from desertification, rangeland degradation, low food production, quality and quantity, and much more. We came out with an airborne robotic device to make the agriculture in Africa more intelligent and more connected through so-called precision agriculture and smart farming.
The proclamation was in view of the endemic service delivery challenges facing the public sector. Subsequently, the Ministry of Devolution and Planning, in consultation and in partnership with all the other ministries delivering services, developed a one-stop shop program concept dubbed the Huduma Kenya.
This is the promise of a digital government, of radically eased access to public services and a one-stop shop for government services. The government will not be asking citizens to provide copies of documents issued by the very same government.
Nilikuwa nataka renewal ya license yangu. Haikuchukua muda, it took me only kitu kama dakika 5 hivi nikamaliziwa, nikashughulika.
In 2011, the government of Kenya announced its vision for Konza, a new technology city to capitalize on the country's fast-growing economy, its booming technology sector, and its well-educated population. With an emphasis on sustainable living and cutting-edge design, the vision for Konza has already generated considerable interest from investors and multinational companies. Meanwhile, the media has started talking about Africa's Silicon Savannah and how Kenya may one day rival India and China as a high-technology giant.
So far, it has been covered extremely very well, both within Kenya and within East Africa and even Africa in general. And truly, it is seen as the Silicon City of Africa. And everybody agrees that the kind of facilities that are being developed within the ICT city can attract any international investor.
The issue of energy on the African continent is the one big issue that can change the economies of Africa. And if we're looking to have either industrialization, meaningful economic growth without energy, that is a pipe dream. We can only, as Africans, roll out energy infrastructure throughout the African continent and increase the megawatts output that we currently have. We need to do that so that we can empower our people, our economies, and we need to do that in a very smart way.
My name is James Odede. I am a software developer and entrepreneur, and I'm interested in using technology to make businesses prosper. I think growing up, I always wanted to be a computer scientist. So that's why I decided to do a degree in computer science, primarily because that uses cloud technology to deploy call centers, targeting small and medium businesses in Africa. It allows you to set up a call center just by signing up on the browser, getting your business a phone number. You're able to start receiving calls from people and even make outgoing calls, and it brings a lot of transparency in your customer engagement.
Technology is growing at a very fast pace across the globe, with the Americans at the forefront. Europe and Asia right within the circle, and Africa comparatively lagging behind, and a lot of dependence acquisition on already invented technology from the aforementioned regions. However, Africa is not willing to remain stagnant forever, and some of the continent's countries are at the forefront of technological advancement. In the latest Global Innovation Index ranking, Sub-Saharan African countries had the highest improvement in the ranking when compared to the 2015 ranking. The region is fast embracing technology and doing all that it can to utilize and at the same time come out with latest innovations that can improve the way we live. At number 5 is Ghana. With a much more stable and growing economy, Ghana is poised to have one of the best environments that supports advancement in technology. Quite a lot of technological advancement has emanated from the West African country of 2.5 million people. Using compressed gas to generate electricity invented by Mr. Freddie Green is one of the out-of-the-box thoughts that became real in the country. An affordable video conference system was also developed by a Ghanaian. The country is being looked upon as the next great African country. At number 4 is our own country, Kenya. Kenya is definitely among the top 4 African countries to be envied when it comes to technology. The country is seeing a lot of startup companies with revolutionary ideas, especially in the IT sector, and all things become equal. It is bound to continue with a lot of startups that may eventually form international platforms for further technology growth. Some of the inventions from Kenya include charging issue developed by Anthony Muchwa, alarm-fitted television created by 44-year-old man who resides in Nairobi. The alarm can be set off with a simple joystick of movement and can sound for up to 8 hours. A charcoal stove, a solar-powered refrigerator which allows medications, including vaccinations and valuable perishables, to reach remote areas of rural cities where there is no hope of finding electricity. Moses Kishaga's drone, which flies for up to 2 hours at a time. Other similar inventions powered by Kenya's raw talents include tamper-proof voting machine, solar-powered refrigerators, underwater pet housing. At number 3 is Nigeria. The most populous African country has not been left behind in technology and innovative developments across the globe. Nigeria is a technology giant with lots of potential in the industry. It is home to the likes of Iromo Partners, a successful internet company with over 6 million unique users from 178 different countries. A Moringa plant technology that will enable Nigerians to use Moringa plant for water treatment, a movement towards increasing the accessibility to potable water in the country. Nigeria is a country with a lot of potentials, producing the most talented people when given the opportunity. At the top 2 is Egypt. Egypt has for long been associated with inventions and innovations. From the Egyptian pyramid to the use of calendar and written language, the North African country has not been relented in spearheading science and technology in Africa. Egypt has some of the best universities in Africa that support development in technology. Egypt has gone this far because of the government embracing technology with an attitude spread across all industries in Egypt, and it is one of the most technologically advanced countries in Africa. At number 1 is South Africa. South Africa is a country that cannot easily be compared with most other countries across Africa. It also tops African countries in the current Global Innovation Index. The country supports its human potential, and that is the reason why you see a lot of developments in the IT field springing up from South Africa. With South African universities constituting most of the best universities in Africa, the country is bound to keep producing some of the most amazing innovations that are properly recognized. Number 1 is Linux Ubuntu developed by Mark Sharp. 2 is MultiChoice DSTV, which is a South African company with a global influence. Number 3 is PayPal, which was co-founded by South Africa. Number 4 is CAT Scan. Number 5 is Sasori Technology that converts coal into oil, just to mention a few of South African innovations. That is the top 10 African countries who are technologically advanced.
We are on the program Talking to Africa, and today we are looking at Africa and technology. And our question today is Africa embracing technology and the role of ICT in empowering their youth? I am your host, Matele Reno, and joining me in the panel is 1, Madam Kate Lagat, who is a community development and gender specialist. Welcome, Madam Kate.
Thank you.
2, we are joined by Madam Agnes Kuske, who is an ICT expert who will help us to give more information about the role of technology. And number 3, we are being joined by Mr. Jimmy Mjama, who is the director of Christ Film Africa. Welcome, my panelists. Now, we have seen that Africa, when it comes to technology, the world is using technology to be a global village. But now, there are some of the continents of which we have seen Africa is lagging behind. Our own Africa is lagging behind. Despite having all the resources, it is still lagging behind when it comes to technology. Therefore, we want to see how do we use technology as Africans to empower our youth and to ensure that we have developments in our country. Let me start with you, Mr. Jimmy. How is technology helping Africa?
Thank you very much, the host of this program. To me, first of all, Africa is bringing revolution.
Yes.
And the thing to do with digital that was marked by digital divide. And 2, Africa needs to produce enough application software that will manage and give economies the gap they surely need. And from there, because of Africa has come a long way to do with internet and ICT, the report has been released that in some sub-Saharan African countries, 60% are accessing internet, compared to bottom 40%. And in urban area, the report says the figure tries to triple. It shows that Africa is moving on. And it shows that Africa is in a good track. But because these things have created many things to do with M-Pesa, M-Solar, things to do with ENESA, the Kenya Education Platform.
Yes.
And in agriculture sector, that is what we call Zenibus in Nigeria, Agrospace in Cameroon, Agro Center in Ghana. These are some of the things that have employed people and young youth. And surely Africa is making a good progress. Again, as we are discussing the technology and the role of ICT, we must first point out certain challenges that Africa is facing. And these are things to deal with, massive things to do with software, local software.
Okay, maybe before we go to the challenges, in simple terms now, you are saying that Africa is embracing technology and it is really working to improve technology. Before I come back to you, what is your point, Madam Agnes? Do you see Africa is embracing technology or it is not embracing technology?
Yes, I think Africa is embracing technology and it's working, it's putting so much effort in tackling problems that we face using technology. For example, if we look back at the past times that we had, there was a time we were using telephone booths to make calls. But at the moment, everyone, like the largest population, they have mobile phones to make calls. In the past times also, we were used to, maybe if you was to send money to the village, you were to travel there so that you deliver the money. But nowadays we have mobile money, we have online transfers, which has really solved some of the problems. And so Africa, at least we can see the positive changes that technology is making in Africa.
Thank you very much. What of Madam Kate? Do you agree with the other colleagues or you are on the other side?
Okay, I totally agree with my colleagues. If you look at the statistics, which shows that African continent is embracing technology. For example, there is 89% of cellular phones coverage in developing countries, that is in sub-Saharan Africa. What does it show? It shows that they have the right attitude of accessing information. That means there is easy access of information. At the same time, there is easy access of information sharing. So I agree that Africa is embracing technology.
Okay. Africa is embracing technology. What is now the role of ICT? Is it helping the youth or it is not helping the youth? Back to you, Madam K.
Okay, I will say we will be lying to ourselves when you say that ICT is helping the youth 100%. Of course, there is always two sides of the coin. There is the positive and the negative sides towards ICT embracing the youth. So I will talk about the positive, and first of all, ICT has ensured that there is access to information. There is also information can be sent to en masse. That means information can be information can be transmitted to a large group of people at a very short period of time. And also you look at information technology has helped the youth to ensure they have access to capital through e-banking. These days you can be able to access loans. At the same time, platforms like Facebook, they've come up with innovations whereby the youth are able to market their products. You're able to meet with your clients virtually, and by that it has created employment opportunities for the youth. Another thing is on political voice. That means through ICT, the youths have been able to air out their views. They've been able to take part in political processes whereby they've been able to engage the government and also ensuring that their voices are heard and they are involved in decision making through ICT. For example, we have a lot of blogs which are managed by the youth. If you look at magazines, if you look at the youth networking, there is also a lot of advocacy work through the internet. They advocate for the rights of the youth themselves. They've been able to mobilize resources, and in other words, they've been able to participate in political process, which has ensured, in other words, it has ensured some kind of good governance in Africa.
Thank you very much. You have a point on the role of ICT.
Yes.
Add a point, yes, madam.
Yeah, so to add on what Keita said, so one of the points that Keita said is that there is employment, which of course it generates income to them. So let's take for example, there is someone, a student that developed the M-Pesa.
Yes.
M-Pesa application. And then from there, Safaricom bought the M-Pesa software. And of course, this guy was paid millions. So that is one thing that technology is really impacting, the generating income. And also myself as a statistic. So I've used the internet or I've used technology to do research.
Yes.
And also maybe in doing my research, I can be able to also come up with some softwares, some sites. So I can say the technology has really impacted the youth in so many ways that I've said, and also whatever Keita said. Yeah.
Mr. Mjama, do you have a role of ICT? The ideas on the role of ICT?
Okay, to add, maybe I can say the challenges that this ICT youth are facing. And some of the challenges that these youth are facing is things to do with application of local software.
Yes.
We need massive people or genius to come up with a software that will manage and tackle the problem Africa is facing.
Yes.
And like I can concur with my colleagues, my panelists here, Kate and Agnes, like the one who discovered M-Pesa. I had a man again as a genius, James Odede, who discovered our voice, able to tap our voice by using API. That is customer engagement.
Yes.
We need people like this to generate this software or to create, innovate this software so that it can move Africa to a certain level. And again, by doing that, we're able to tackle some of the problems. Like, let's say, minerals, DRC, Tanzania, Ghana, Angola. These are some of the mining sites. We need some people or young youth to come up with a software or local software that will enable to scan these minerals. And after scanning these minerals, it sends the data to the international market. Yes, the international market will trigger the information to the bottom line. Yes. And we see this will be able to remove these cartels, the middlemen who are exploiting the mining sector. Yes. And they are using that advantage to exploit these young people.
So there will be a direct communication from the miner to the seller, to the buyer of the mineral.
Yeah, of the mineral.
So that we reduce a lot of the challenges which the person coming up with the mineral is facing being exploited.
And we see again, this will enable to give youth more power so that they can able to form their companies. Because some of them, they have ability, they need what we call a direct line.
Yes.
But there is no direct line. So this software will solve that problem, like the colleagues have said.
Thank you very much. So you find that you have a point.
Yeah,
yes,
add on that, I think through ICT, we also had the coming up of young entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Like if you check around town, you check on the shops that maybe do phone repairs, laptop repairs, it's there. So I think through ICT, it has brought up those young entrepreneurs selling software, selling mobile phones, and all those.
So, which is also, with all those ideas, it comes to that when these youths get those opportunities, they create job opportunities for themselves, which in turn promote the economy of the country.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Now, with these ideas in mind now, we find that in ICT or in technology, we have a lot of innovations. Can we find out some of these innovations which we have, on which sectors does the ICT and technological innovations affect in the development of the country? Let me start with Jimmy Mjam.
Okay, thank you, the host of the program, Mr. Ngeno. To me, we have to, youth have to embrace some of the technologies.
Yes.
Especially in agriculture, because the recent report released by Food and Agriculture Organization by United Nations shows Africa will be home of 2 billion people by 2020.
Yes.
And through that figure, it's a dangerous figure.
Yes.
And right now, Africa is facing hunger. They are saying the only thing that will help Africa to come out of this problem is by relying on technology. This is usually by using of drones, using of cloud computing system, using by connecting open source, and again satellites. These are some of the digital tools that will enable agriculture and give meaning. As I pointed earlier, Ujuzi Kilimo in Kenya, the young man, like the Madam Agnes have said, he invented the software whereby it's enabled to sense soil. After sensing soil, it sends the information to the cloud, hence bring back to the data. And one of the farmer is able to know the kind of fertilizer should apply. That minimize cost, it minimize time, it minimize things to do with guesswork.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that...
And also the application of those manure to ensure that the soil